Imagine standing in front of a room full of people, your notes trembling in your hand, your heart racing because you know what you want to say, but the words have slipped away like sand through your fingers. You studied, you rehearsed, but when the moment came, your memory betrayed you. Now imagine the opposite. You step up with calm confidence, every fact, every phrase, every idea rising effortlessly in your mind, as if your brain had turned into a well-organized library. That is the difference between forgetting and remembering, between struggling and mastering, and today I'm going to show you how to move from one side to the other. The truth is, your brain isn't broken, it isn't weak. It's not that some people are born with photographic memory and others are doomed to forget. Memory is a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. Just as a muscle grows stronger with exercise, your memory grows sharper when you use it correctly. The problem is that most of us were never taught how to use it. We were taught to repeat information, to cram for exams, to read and reread the same page until our eyes glazed over. But repetition without strategy is like filling a bucket with holes. It leaks away faster than you can pour it in. Here's the good news. When you understand how memory actually works, you can unlock techniques that transform the way you learn, recall, and even speak. These methods won't just help you memorize lists of words. They'll make you confident in conversations, presentations, and exams. They'll make you the kind of person who remembers names, dates, faces, and facts without effort. And they'll do something even more powerful. They'll help you improve your English, because memory and language are inseparable. Every new word you learn, every phrase you practice, relies on memory to stick. So let's start with a simple contrast. Think of short-term memory like a small whiteboard in your brain. You can write a few notes on it, but the space is limited, and anything written there can be erased quickly. Now think of long-term memory like a massive notebook that you carry for life. The challenge isn't writing on the notebook, it's making sure the information moves from the tiny whiteboard onto the permanent pages. Most people lose information not because they can't remember, but because they never transfer it. They leave it on the whiteboard until it's wiped away. To transfer information, your brain needs signals. It needs to know that what you are learning matters. And here's the first secret. Your brain prioritizes meaning and emotion over raw repetition. That's why you can forget what you studied last week, but remember the lyrics of a song you heard once when you were in love, or the smell of food from your grandmother's kitchen 20 years ago. Emotion and meaning are the glue of memory. If you want to remember English vocabulary, don't just repeat the word, attach it to something personal, something funny, something vivid. Let me give you an example. Say you want to remember the English word umbrella. You could repeat it 10 times, and maybe you'll hold it for a while. But imagine instead that you picture yourself carrying an umbrella so big it knocks over cars in the street. Imagine it's covered in flashing lights and people are staring as you walk. Imagine the rain is falling only on you, while the rest of the street is sunny. That ridiculous image will stick in your mind far longer than any repetition. Because the brain remembers stories, not lists. And this brings us to one of the oldest and most powerful techniques, the memory palace. Ancient orators used it to give speeches that lasted for hours without notes. The method is simple. Take a place you know well, your house, your school, your workplace, and imagine placing information along a path inside it. If you need to remember a list of words, put each word in a room. When you walk through your house in your mind, you'll see the objects and recall the words. The more exaggerated and emotional you make the images, the stronger the memory becomes. Now pause for a moment and think. What's a place you know so well you could walk through it with your eyes closed? Is it your bedroom, your favorite cafe, your daily bus route? That place can become your palace. If you want to remember English phrases, scatter them across that palace. Picture the word confidence carved into your bathroom mirror. The word focus painted on your kitchen table. The phrase speak clearly, floating like steam above your teacup. When you tie abstract ideas to physical spaces, your memory sharpens dramatically. But what about forgetting names? One of the most common struggles. The same principle applies. Names are hard because they are sounds without meaning. If I say this is Lily, your brain hears a sound and throws it on the whiteboard. But if you imagine Lily surrounded by bright flowers, or picture her carrying a giant lily plant, suddenly the name sticks. When you meet John, imagine him shaking hands with John Cena, or standing on a toilet because the word John means toilet in slang. It sounds silly, but silly works. The stranger the association, the stronger the memory. And here's where the English practice comes in. Every time you make one of these images, describe it in English. Don't just think lily flowers. Say to yourself, Lily is surrounded by flowers. Don't just picture John toilet. Say, John is standing on a toilet. This way you aren't only remembering names. You're practicing sentence building, vocabulary, and fluency. You're training memory and language together, turning two exercises into one. Think of memory as a bridge. On one side is knowledge, on the other is expression. Without memory, knowledge falls into the river. With memory, knowledge crosses into fluent speech. That's why every technique you learn here isn't just about storing facts. It's about giving you the power to use them when you need them most. So ask yourself, how would your life change if you could remember everything you studied? If you could walk into an exam and recall every answer with calm precision? If you could meet someone once and never forget their name? If you could learn English faster because every new word anchored itself in your mind with ease? That's the transformation we're building, step by step. And the first step is this. Stop believing your memory is weak. It isn't. What's weak is the method you've been using. And from today forward, you'll replace it with methods that work. Now that you've taken the first step, let's push further. You understand that memory is not luck. It's strategy. You've seen how emotion and imagination act like glue for your brain. But to truly remember everything, you need systems, repeatable, reliable methods that work every time, whether you're learning 10 new words or 100. The first system is called chunking. Your brain struggles with long, random strings of information, but it thrives on groups. Think about a phone number. 10 digits in a row are nearly impossible to memorize. But the moment you break them into 3 chunks, 3 digits, 4 digits, suddenly it sticks. The same applies to English learning. Instead of trying to memorize 20 individual vocabulary words, group them by theme. Put food words together, travel words together, business words together. Your brain will remember categories more easily than isolated terms, because categories give context, and context creates meaning. Let's test it right now. Imagine you need to remember these words: apple, taxi, meeting, sandwich, airport, salad, suitcase, bus, train, coffee. At first glance, it's overwhelming. But now watch how your memory relaxes when we chunk them. Group 1, food, apple, sandwich, salad, coffee. Group 2, travel, taxi, airport, suitcase, bus, train. Group 3, business meeting. Just by grouping, you've cut the memory load down and the words stick faster. The second system is spaced repetition. This is how you move information from short-term to long-term storage. Your brain forgets quickly at first, but if you review information at specific intervals, the forgetting slows down. Review a word right after you learn it. Review it again the next day, then 3 days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks later. Each review strengthens the memory until it becomes nearly permanent. Think of it like hammering a nail. One strike won't secure it, but repeated strikes at the right rhythm drive it deep into the wood. Here's the key. Don't review too much too soon. If you read a vocabulary list 20 times in one night, you're just exhausting your short-term memory. Instead, review once, sleep, then review again. Sleep is not wasted time. It's the most powerful memory tool of all. During sleep, your brain replays what you've learned, deciding what to keep and what to discard. If you want to remember everything, protect your sleep like gold. The third system is visualization combined with exaggeration. You already saw how turning Lily into flowers helps remember her name. But you can take this further by creating wild, movie-like scenes in your imagination. Suppose you need to remember the word responsibility. Don't just repeat it. Picture a giant robot carrying a mountain on its back, shouting, "It's my responsibility." Suppose you want to remember negotiation. Imagine 2 cats in suits sitting at a table arguing over a bowl of milk. The stranger the image, the stronger the memory. And once again, describe the scene in English, because the act of turning pictures into sentences strengthens both memory and fluency. Now let's talk about storytelling. Humans are wired for stories. Long before we had books or schools, we shared knowledge through tales around a fire. If you need to remember a list, turn it into a story. Let's return to our earlier example. Apple, taxi, meeting, sandwich, airport, salad, suitcase, bus, train, coffee. Here's the story. You bite into an apple as you jump into a taxi. Inside the taxi there's a strange meeting happening. Someone offers you a sandwich, but you refuse because you're late for the airport. At the airport you eat a salad while packing your suitcase. You run for the bus, miss it, then catch the train, and finally collapse at a cafe with a cup of coffee. Suddenly the random list becomes a vivid adventure. And notice you practice storytelling in English at the same time. Another powerful tool is association. Connect new knowledge to old knowledge. If you're learning the word optimistic, tie it to a person you know who's always cheerful. If you're learning complicated, tie it to the last time you had to fix your computer. The more you connect new information to familiar experiences, the stronger the memory becomes. This is why language learners who live in English-speaking countries progress faster, because every new word attaches to real-life situations. But you don't need to move abroad. You can create those associations in your mind. Here's a challenge for you. Right now, think of 3 English words you've learned recently. Take each one and link it to something in your daily life. If the word is decision, picture yourself standing at a crossroads in your neighborhood. If the word is energy, imagine plugging your phone into your own body. If the word is deadline, imagine a giant clock chasing you down the street. These images may seem ridiculous, but they transform abstract words into unforgettable pictures. But let's not forget the emotional side. Motivation is memory's best friend. If you learn words you don't care about, your brain won't hold them. But if you learn words that matter to your goals, whether it's traveling, passing an exam, or impressing in a job interview, your brain recognizes their value and works harder to keep them. This is why one of the best strategies is to personalize your learning. Don't just memorize random word lists from textbooks. Build your own lists based on your needs, your interests, your passions. If you love cooking, collect food vocabulary. If you love movies, collect cinema vocabulary. Passion fuels memory. Now let's talk about a secret almost no one teaches. Teach others. When you explain something to someone else, your brain organizes the information more deeply. The act of teaching forces you to structure knowledge, to retrieve it, to say it clearly. Even if you don't have a student, pretend you do. Teach your mirror, teach your phone, teach your pillow. The process of speaking knowledge out loud, especially in English, makes it yours. Think about the contrast. When you passively read, you're a consumer. When you teach, you're a producer. And producers remember far more than consumers. So the next time you learn a new English phrase, don't just note it down. Turn to someone or to yourself and say, "Let me teach you this phrase." That act alone can double your retention. And here's where all of these methods meet. Active learning. Passive learning is reading, listening, watching. Active learning is imagining, storytelling, teaching, using. If you truly want to remember everything, you must cross the bridge from passive to active. Your competitor may sit quietly reading the same chapter 10 times. You will read once, then turn it into images, stories, and lessons. Guess which one will remember? By now you can feel the shift. You're not just hearing about memory, you're experiencing how it works. You've seen how chunking, spaced repetition, visualization, storytelling, association, and teaching all combine into a powerful system. And you've practiced English at the same time, turning every exercise into double progress. So take a deep breath and realize, you are building a new identity. You are no longer the person who forgets names, loses vocabulary, blanks out in exams. You are becoming the person who remembers with ease, speaks with confidence, and learns with joy. By now you've walked through powerful techniques that transform your memory from fragile to unstoppable. But to truly master this skill, you need to see how these tools fit into daily life. Because memory is not just about tricks, it's about habits. And habits are what make your progress permanent. Think of your day as a map. Every moment is an opportunity to practice memory. If you know where to look, start with mornings. Instead of scrolling aimlessly on your phone, choose one English word or phrase to be your word of the day. Write it down, imagine it vividly, make a sentence with it, and say it out loud. Then repeat it throughout the day in real conversations, messages, or even to yourself while you walk. By evening, that word will belong to you forever. During commutes, whether you're on a bus, in a car, or walking, use visualization. Pick something around you and connect it with an English word. If you pass a bakery, tie it to delicious aroma or fresh. If you see traffic, tie it to congestion or rush hour. The world becomes your memory palace when you practice like this, and suddenly every street corner is a classroom. When you meet new people, make names unforgettable. We already practiced turning names into images, but let's go deeper. After meeting someone, repeat their name instantly in the conversation. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Then connect Sarah to something personal. Maybe Sarah holding a shining star, because Sarah comes from the word for princess in some languages. That double connection, repetition plus imagery, makes the name stick. And in English, this also trains your ability to repeat phrases naturally. Now let's address studying. Many people still think studying means long hours of sitting, forcing information into the brain. But the best learners study in short, sharp bursts. 20 to 30 minutes of focused, active learning beats 3 hours of half-distracted reading. Set a timer. Study intensely for half an hour. Then take a break, walk, move your body. When you return, review quickly, and you'll be amazed how much more sticks. But what if you forget anyway? Here's a truth most people don't realize. Forgetting is not failure. Forgetting is part of learning. Every time you forget and recall again, the memory grows stronger. It's like lifting weights. Muscles don't grow from lifting something easy once. They grow when you strain, fail, and then lift again. So don't fear forgetting. Welcome it, because every retrieval strengthens the chain between knowledge and memory. Another key principle is multisensory learning. The more senses you involve, the deeper the memory. If you only read a word, you may forget. But if you read it, say it, hear it, and write it, your brain lights up in multiple areas. This is why language learners who watch movies, listen to music, speak with friends, and write journals learn faster. They are using sight, sound, touch, and even emotion all at once. So when you study English, don't just stare at a page. Speak aloud, write by hand, listen to recordings, act out sentences. The more senses you engage, the more unforgettable the memory. Let's put this into action. Suppose you want to remember the phrase break the ice. First, picture yourself literally smashing a block of ice with a hammer. That's the image. Then say the phrase aloud, break the ice. Write it in your notebook. Record yourself saying it and play it back. Finally, use it in a sentence. I told a joke to break the ice at the party. Suddenly you've learned not just the phrase, but the pronunciation, the spelling, the usage, and the image. You've built a complete memory. Now let's talk about confidence. Memory and confidence are partners. When you trust your memory, your confidence in English rises. And when you speak with confidence, your memory performs better, because stress no longer blocks it. The next time you forget a word in conversation, don't panic. Pause, smile, describe the word instead. If you forget umbrella, say the thing you use when it rains. The conversation continues. Your brain relaxes and the word may return. Confidence is not about never forgetting. It's about continuing smoothly even when you forget. That is what makes you fluent. One of the most underrated techniques is journaling. Every night, write a short summary of your day in English. Not only does this strengthen your language, but it also locks the events of your day into memory. You're training recall, structure, and creativity in one habit. And here's the twist: use the memory techniques in your journal. Exaggerate the events, make them vivid, turn them into funny stories. This way, your daily life becomes the material for memory training. There's also power in community. Memory grows stronger when shared. Join a study group, an English conversation club, or even an online forum. Teach others what you've learned. Challenge each other with vocabulary games. Share your silly images and stories. Laughter bonds people, and it also strengthens memory because humor is emotional glue. But perhaps the most important shift is this. Stop saying, I have a bad memory. Every time you say it, you program your brain to believe it. Start saying, I am training my memory. Start believing, I am improving every day. This mindset change is not just positive thinking, it actually directs your attention and focus. When you believe in growth, your brain looks for strategies and you find them. Let me give you a vision. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You walk into an exam room. The questions appear, and instead of panic, your brain calmly delivers the answers you studied. You walk into a job interview, and instead of blanking on your introduction, you speak smoothly, remembering every phrase you practiced. You travel abroad, and instead of freezing when someone asks for directions, you reply with ease, because the vocabulary is there, waiting for you. That is not fantasy. That is the future you build by practicing these techniques daily. And here's the ultimate secret. Memory is not about remembering everything. It's about remembering what matters most. When you align your memory with your goals, when you train it with purpose, you don't just boost recall, you transform your life. You gain control over learning, confidence in speaking, and clarity in thinking. So as you finish this journey today, remember the contrast we started with. On one side, the struggle forgetting names, losing words, blanking on facts. On the other side, the mastery speaking clearly, recalling instantly, learning deeply. You have the tools to cross that bridge. All that remains is practice, and practice is not a burden. It's a gift. Every time you create an image, every time you tell a story, every time you teach someone else, you are sharpening the most powerful tool you own, your mind. So take this knowledge, apply it today, and watch the transformation unfold. Because your memory is not broken. Your memory is waiting. And when you unlock it, you won't just remember words. You'll remember what it feels like to finally be in control of your learning, your language, and your future.